Howdy. Some people have asked how we keep track of all these books behind me, and it's not the Dewey Decimal System, but it's kind of a rudimentary way of keeping track. There's 5 different sections of the bookshelf, and then there's 6 different going horizontally here. This book lives in 5B, so I took it from there. And this book is our treasure book today, The Slanted Door by Charles Phan. Or Phan? Maybe it's Phan. I've met him, and he's a wonderful person, and I hope I didn't just get his name wrong, but sorry, Charles, if I did, but you know where my heart is at. Modern Vietnamese food. Janet and I went to the original Slanted Door at its location, which this is a cool way they did this. They've organized their book into Act 1, 2, 3, and Act 1 was the original restaurant at 584 Valencia Street. And then Act 2 moved over to Brannan Street, and then the ferry building for Act 3. So when this book came out, Charles and his family, because it's a family business, had been doing the Slanted Door for a while because the original restaurant was quite a humble affair. And I don't even know how we heard of it, but the foodie world, it's tight. Patricia Unterman, longtime writer for the San Francisco Chronicle and some great guidebooks as well, wrote the foreword for the book. And I didn't know this one until I was just looking at it again today, but she writes, his cooking was vibrant, his food more alive than any I'd eaten in any other Vietnamese restaurants. Charles committed his kitchen to using fresh, carefully chosen ingredients. He had never cooked professionally. I did not know that, and you certainly couldn't tell because the orchestration of the dishes and the way he did things was just like genius. She went on to write, Vietnamese farmers were just starting to grow vegetables and herbs for both homes and Asian restaurants, selling them at farmers markets where Charles shopped. He also was seduced by Western vegetables, which he prepared in breakthrough ways with Vietnamese herbs, Brentwood corn with sesame seeds, haricot vert with roasted chilies, old-fashioned Western broccoli with chilies, tofu, and lion's mane mushrooms. In one of the earlier episodes of my treasure books, I talked about the very first book I bought on Vietnamese cookery and by the wonderful Nicole Routhier. And she and I became friends over time. What that book was about, what her cooking was about, what she was showing and giving evocation to was the very traditional, beautiful Vietnamese food that she grew up with and mastered as she got more and more professional with her book writing and her understanding of cooking. With Charles, you have a person who is in transition between the learning and the cooking and the tradition and of the family recipes, with now an American sensibility in coming to this world and adapting in many ways and doing the fusion that would be natural to a person and remains natural to a person as they evolve. And as I said, this is a family story too, and here's a beautiful series of black and white photos of the Phan family. Like I said, Janet and I went to the original one, and that was the one on Valencia Street. And this is the menu from the night that we went there. It could have been lunch. It was a little while ago. And you can see it's kind of a tight menu. It's not ridiculously long. It does go on for pages. Forget about the pricing in some ways because, it was 25 years ago. But the dishes were, I was I was really excited upon reading the menu, and it is a lunch menu, and then just trying to decide what in the heck we were going to order because we wanted one of everything, and boy, I just Loved it. I remember for sure having what I believe this page is going to be the marker for. Yes, the shaking beef. He writes, our signature dish with an interesting history. I'm not going to read this right now because maybe one day you'll buy this book and you can read the history yourself. But the name Shaking Beef got my attention. Beautiful picture. There's beautiful photos throughout the book. One of the things that we now have more and more and more in the cookbooks of the day. Oh, look at that. Doesn't that look delicious? Spicy lemongrass soup. So, oh, look at this one. Oh, yeah, I marked this one a while ago because it's a different piece of paper. Vietnamese chocolate tres leches cake. There you see it. There you see that adaptation, that fusion between the Vietnamese style and then the Latin style, putting them together, mashing them up in brilliant and delicious ways. And there's a photo of the handsome character that he is, and he continues to succeed out in California, out in San Francisco. Last I've heard, it's still happening at the Ferry Building, so you want to get out there and check out the Slanted Door and maybe pick up the cookbook there if you can. That's always great because then you can see if the guy who wrote it's around and ask him to put his signature on there. I'm going to slide this menu back in here for another time, and now I need to get myself some Vietnamese food because I love it. All right, everybody, I'll talk to you again soon. Have a wonderful day. Get your books.